Hey guys, this is Mark Lewis here, RMT at Reactivate Muskoka. Today I want to talk to you guys about self-myofascial release. This is something that I give a lot of my patients to do at home as a way of dealing with certain areas in their bodies that are tight or painful in between treatments. It's a fantastic thing to try out if you haven't before. And basically what self-myofascial release is, if you haven't heard that term before, it just refers to you applying your own pressure using different objects on your myofascial system, or that's your muscle connective tissue system, in painful areas or restricted areas that maybe you can't move your shoulder well because you got some really tight areas in the shoulder, which we're going to talk about today. Applying pressure to those areas you can use your fingertips, you can use different balls. I've got a tennis ball here, lacrosse ball, different objects. You can also use foam rollers on bigger body parts like your hips and your legs. And you can even use funky stuff like barbells and stuff like that, but I would not start with that. Start with something like a tennis ball, but there's a lot of options out there. So, self-myofascial release. Today I want to talk about how that would apply to the upper trapezius, which is a very common area of complaint that I get. I pretty much deal with this area in the body on a daily basis. A lot of people have a lot of tension here. Sometimes they get headaches. Sometimes it's from overuse of their shoulder, and they just feel really tight and painful in here. So something they could try is self-myofascial release. So I've got 4 different tools here. They're all about the same size, but I just want to talk about this for a second. I've got a tennis ball, which has quite a bit of give to it. This will kind of be putting the least amount of pressure. And then I've got a yoga tune-up ball. It's got a little bit less give, so it's going to put a bit more pressure into the same area. Lacrosse ball has virtually no give at all to it. It's very dense, very hard, so this will put a lot more pressure on. And then I've also got a very dense spiky ball, which is going to put some very specific pressure because it's got very specific points onto it. So which one would you start with? I would start with the tennis ball right here. After you've done it for a little while, you might be able to start to work with some different objects that are going to put even more pressure. So even before that, though, what I would do for your upper trapezius is I would press around, and your upper trapezius, it kind of starts in the top of your shoulder blade here, goes up into the neck on both sides. So it kind of starts here, goes up into the neck, and it can get tight for a number of reasons, like I mentioned. But I would just kind of press around there. You can kind of see that's your upper trapezius. Press in there a little bit, and a simple way of doing self-myofascial release is just kind of to turn the head. So you press in, find a tight area with your fingertips, and just turn your head away. I feel a little bit more tension in here as I do that. So I'd start there, and then what you can do is you can use these objects and use a door frame, which I'm going to show you today. So what we're going to do is we're going to press into the ball with that tissue into the door frame, and you're going to use kind of a horizontal position so you can use your legs to press into and apply more pressure into the door frame. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. Once you found a tender spot, and I'm pretty much can guarantee you will, you can do a couple things. You get to that tender spot, feel it. You can take your arm by your behind your body, which will drop the shoulder, or you can also turn the head away, which is going to put a bit more pressure because that tissue will be lengthening a bit under tension. So let me show you what that would look like. Okay, so I'm pressing in, using my legs to lean into the door frame there. I'm going to take my arm, which drops the shoulder, and I'm also turning my head away once I found that tight area. So what I would do is set your timer for a couple minutes, and just within that time frame, your goal is just to find some tight areas and to work on it a little bit. There's 2 principles that I would follow. One is to go slow. A lot of people go way too fast. They skip over the really painful spots, and that's exactly where they need to relax into as much as you can, even though it hurts a little bit. So number 1, go slow. Good rule of thumb would be like to do like 1 inch per second, something like that, if you're just kind of going along the tissue. So no quicker than that. And then number 2 is you got to make sure that you're breathing. When you breathe, your brain will send signals to your myofascial system to chill out and relax. So you want to make sure you're not doing shallow breathing into your chest. You want to be breathing with your diaphragm and your stomach, and make sure that you're breathing that way. So kind of relaxing into those painful areas, and just take note of how you feel after. I bet you'll feel better. So I hope you find that helpful. Give it a try. Remember, we've got lots of different options depending on how painful and sensitive your tissue is. Everyone's different. But start somewhere, give it a try, and we'll see you next time. See ya.